Let's talk about echo chambers and why they are incredibly dangerous. Alright, so basically, an echo chamber is when you look at one source of information or you're in one small group and you basically buy into the worldview of that small group. And this is super powerful. And you see this on the internet all the time. So I want to talk about the pills because people like talking about the pills. You know, you've got like the blue pill, the red pill, the black pill, the purple pill, so on, so on. And these are all echo chambers. There's shades of truth in all of them, but they're not all inherently true. So, you've basically got the blue pill. Blue pill's like the Disney world. Blue pill people go, oh yeah, everything's this way, I'm going to meet my partner, then we're going to get married and have children, and it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows, all this. Right? That's the blue pill. That's the echo chamber. Everyone's like, oh yeah, we believe this. This is all true. And if it's not true, there's something wrong with you. It's like, oh no, you just need to be more loving or more kind, and it'll happen. Blue pill. Red pill's basically the complete opposite. Red pill's like hyper rational. It's going, alright, nah, that's not it, that's all crap. They're basically saying, okay, nah, you've got to get up your SMV, you've got to be a high value man, you've got to be rich, you've got to be successful, you've got to have muscles, you've got to have game, you've got to have a network. You need to be able to pull and attract women, and if you don't have all this, you're not going to be able to meet women and all of that. And it gets to all these extremes of saying, oh yeah, women, there's like a 70% chance of divorce, so never get married because you're going to get divorced and you're going to lose your kids and all this is going to happen, right? It's this hyper rational kind of worldview. And that can be taken to extremes as well. Then you got the black pill. The black pill's like, oh nah, it doesn't matter how successful or rich or any of this. It's all about your face shape. It's all about your genetics. It's all about the way that you're born. If you're a 5 in looks or lower, or if you're under 5'8", you're done. You don't stand a chance. You might as well just give up, right? Then you got that, so on, so on. You've got all these different pills. So, I mean, these are all echo chambers. If you're stuck in one of these, if you're stuck in being blue pill, red pill, black pill, and you only identify with that one little lens of looking at the world, obviously your brain's going to start to buy it, and your brain's going to focus on examples of that. So basically, your brain will stop seeing other things, and it'll start seeing examples that back up what you're saying. I see this in like everything. If you focus on something, your brain starts to see it. And if you believe in something and you believe it's like the true way, then your brain will sort of scan for examples of why it is the true way. And this is really powerful too. Like I've noticed there's things I believed strongly, say 5 years ago, that I no longer believe. And I believed them and I'd see examples of them everywhere, right? Now I don't believe them, I no longer see those examples because I no longer have that belief. So echo chambers can be really dangerous. I mean, that can be the same for anything. I don't think you should prescribe to any one worldview without at least being open to alternatives. And we could talk about some really extreme things here, like religion. Some people that are devoutly religious, they believe in this one religion. And they believe that's the only way to live. They believe it's the only technology that can get them to like spiritual transcendence and to a deep spiritual connection with God or whatever it is. They believe that their religion, that this one culture sort of cultivated around and like adapted to and built, and they had profits from that one culture that spread the religion. They believe that one religion is the only religion, every other philosophy or worldview is incorrect, and so on and so on. So religion can also be an echo chamber. I've talked about spiral dynamics on this channel and different worldviews. So if you're a rationalist, you believe that everyone needs to be as successful as possible, and the whole point of life is to become successful, and the more successful you become, the more things you'll get. The more material things and the more relationships and connections you'll be able to pull into yourself, that you'll be able to attract, the more love that you'll get, so on and so on, right? So echo chambers are crazy. And if you've got, even your friend group, think about your friend group, they all have certain beliefs probably. Probably your friends think in like similar ways and have similar beliefs. And then your family, you know, if you grew up in a family that leaned towards the left in politics or the right in politics or the middle or whatever, chances you might follow your family. You see this a lot in Asian cultures. They grew up believing, okay, you need to study and get a good job and become this, become this. I've got a friend like this, and it's a very similar thing. He's like, oh no, I need to become whatever. I don't remember what he was. It's like some sort of medical profession. I don't think it's a doctor. It's something else. It's like selling, it's like sales and medicine. So, okay, you got to do sales and medicine. And they go on, I don't want to do sales and medicine. I want to go and do this and this. And the parents are like, no, you have to do sales and medicine. They're sold on it. They're in an echo chamber. You've got cults. You know, you've got all these cults like the KKK and all these extremist groups that all believe the same thing. I mean, if you grew up, realistically, you might know that there's something wrong, but if you grew up in the KKK and you were like a baby and you grew up hearing that black people did all this bad stuff and you never heard any contrary opinions, and that's all you heard, and there's no internet where you can just Google it and hear alternatives, and that's all you ever heard growing up from like 0 to 25, then you'd believe it. The chance of you sort of not agreeing with that would be extremely slim because you've grown up from the beginning to believe it. It's like, imagine now that there was aliens here and no one knew. It's like, oh yeah, there's actually aliens. And you just couldn't comprehend the fact that aliens had been here for 20 years. But they had, but you just lived in a little echo chamber where that didn't happen. It's basically the same thing. Like, imagine something was completely different to how you believe it is. And you thought it was wrong, and now you realize it's a different way. So your mind changes. What else could we go on about? Like, politics is obviously one. Racism, we've gone into that with KKK. What else? Yeah, I mean, basically there's so many different echo chambers. There's a lot around relationships now on the internet. It's like, oh, all women are this and all men are this. Like, all men are like players and they don't care, they just want sex. All women just want money and they just want to like grift off a man's success. So on and so on, right? You hear all this stuff. You get the MGTOW guys, they believe dating's not worth it. I don't know, there's like so many examples of echo chambers. And I think if your mind gets fully stuck in just one echo chamber and you can't see alternatives, and you can't, some people, like, they don't listen. They're so stuck that their opinion is the correct opinion that they're not even willing to listen to the opinions of others. I mean, in a way, this is going to probably trigger people. Atheism can be like this too. Because I'm a pretty spiritual person. Atheism is a belief that we come from like particles joining together, and somehow the particles get together in a way where an accumulation of particles can be aware that it exists. That's basically what atheism is. So if someone comes in who's spiritual and they're like, oh no, it's actually your mind is God, like your mind is the creator of this experience and your mind is projecting this reality. It's all coming from you. You are the universe. You are connected to the universe. You breathe out, the trees breathe in. It's all one superorganism. You're going to spit them out. So if someone's a hardcore atheist, they can't actually listen to that opinion. And the same if someone's hardcore spiritual and they're sold on what I just said spiritually, they can't truly listen to the atheist opinion. They can't truly understand it. So echo chambers too. If you're stuck in like a spiritual echo chamber, then you're going to go down that path. If you're stuck in like a scientific echo chamber where anything that isn't like rightly aligned to a scientific method, they don't believe it. Because the truth is, a lot of spiritual stuff you can't like study, you can't really see it, you can only experience it. And it's beyond words or language or models or any of that. So there's that too. So echo chambers can be dangerous. I mean, you can look at North Korea. North Korea is an echo chamber. People that grow up over there, they hear the same thing growing up, start to finish, and even if they wanted to argue, they just can't. So they buy into a lot of the stuff they hear. Like, you look at the Nazis, you had a bunch of basically German people that bought into an ideology that white people, like white Europeans were like the superior race and that everyone else was lesser than them, to the level where they started killing everyone else off. That's pretty full on. Like, it's pretty crazy that millions of human beings can believe that. It's insane. So yeah, echo chambers can be incredibly dangerous. But more than them being dangerous, they can limit you. Imagine you're stuck in the rat race, like the rat race mentality. I need to grow up, I need to study, I need to get a job, this, that. That's the only way I can live life. Right? And think about kind of how silly a 9 to 5 is. From like where we came from, we basically would hunt for food and build stuff and sort of help the tribe out. There was no 9 to 5 though. That's a recent thing. It's like, oh no, it's the way it's always been. So marriage is the same too. It's like, oh, everyone's got marriage. Marriage is a thing. Marriage wasn't a thing. It was a thing that we came up with. We invented it. A lot of these customs are just cultural things that we invented. We invented marriage. We invented property. Like to say, this is my land, this is my property. That's something we sort of invented. Legally, like to sign a piece of paper and say, this is mine. It's like, this is my house. I'm like, this is my house. In reality, I believe it's my house. And then the government will back me up if someone sort of tried to come in here and take it from me. But in reality, it's, nothing is truly yours. This is walls and a ceiling and all this. If the Australian government collapsed tomorrow and there was just pure chaos in the streets, The only way this would continue to be my house is if I physically defended it. If I basically got some weapons and fought people off if they tried to come and take it. That's the only way I could keep this as my house. So it's crazy. Even a government can be an echo chamber. A culture can be an echo chamber. Saying, we believe in this. We believe that people should do this. You know, cultural things, cultural different things. Say like, yeah, it just never ends. So I want you to think about it. Think about what echo chambers you're in. Try and open your mind. Try and think about something you completely disagree with. So if you're an atheist, think about something spiritual. If you're spiritual, think of atheism. Think of the possibility that there is no God. That you're just consciousness in a body that's a temporary thing and then you fade into nothingness, right? Think about that. And don't think about it in a way it's like, oh no, that's stupid. Think about it in a way, try and put yourself in the shoes of someone who is completely different than you. And that's basically like yellow in spiral dynamics, or being open-minded, or integral thinking. And if you're able to do that, that's like maybe 2-3% of the population. It becomes awesome because you're no longer stuck in a box. You can sort of I understand that you can create your own box. You can create your own beliefs and all this. And that your little box that you've created for yourself, that's just one box of many different boxes that could exist. And you basically bring the things into your life, into your mind that you think will serve you, that will help you, and you just throw out the stuff that doesn't. It doesn't matter where it comes from, it doesn't matter who said it. And you realize at the same time that what you believe in your mind is like the perfect way to live is just your personal opinion. And other people might agree or they might disagree. So yeah, that's just me trying to explain to you why echo chambers exist and that they can be harmful. And algorithms pull you down an echo chamber too. You know, if you're going down like the MGTOW path and you watch 10 videos about why women aren't worth dating and all this, then the YouTube algorithm or wherever you're on will say, oh yeah, I see this guy's watching like MGTOW stuff, and it'll start throwing more and more at you. So all of a sudden everything you see is that way. Or politically, if you lean one way, the YouTube algorithm will say, all right, this guy's a Democrat, here's a whole bunch of Democrat favouring content. And then that person who's getting this stream of Democrat favoured content sees someone who believes something different, and they're like, you're crazy, look at all this evidence. I've got so much evidence of seeing why like the Republicans aren't as good. Or in Australia, Liberal and Labor, it's like, oh yeah, but Liberal are stupid. Like here's so many reasons why they're stupid. When then someone who's Liberal, they're being fed, they're watching, you know, more liberal, conservative media, and they're getting fed a whole different stream of information. And they say, what are you talking about? And they believe the same thing. They believe the other person's crazy to have the opinions that they have. So you got to realize your opinions are just your opinions. That's like, basically that's what a democracy is. It's like whatever opinion the most people have is what happens. That's the whole idea of democracy. Like whoever, say like we had gay marriage, it's like more people in Australia were for gay marriage than against it. So it got in because the opinion that gay people should be allowed to get married was more popular. That's how democracy works. So yeah, dodge echo chambers, especially as AI kicks in. You know, the internet's going to just go over a massive transformation. So you really need to keep your wits about you. You really need to have control of yourself and your life. It's powerful. Don't just become a pawn in someone else's game. Don't like fall into an NPC mentality. Make sure that you can think for yourself. That you can critically analyze the situation and make your own opinions. Cool. So yeah, that's the third video I've made sitting here on the lounge. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your day.